Hello, my name is John Luke Waltrip, and this is my story. I was born May 15th, 1984 in Elk City, Oklahoma, and I had the best life a kid could think about. I just remember just happy memories as a young kid. The Lord was taught to me at a young age, and just through all my being a baby up to a kid to a young adult, just the Lord was really put into me. And I'll just kind of fast forward. I played a lot of sports, but I loved basketball. I got to see a lot as a young kid. I played AAU basketball. I got to travel around pretty much all over the United States. We went during the summer. A lot of happy memories. Still got a lot of good friends from that. But around the 8th grade, I started experiencing drinking for the first time. I liked how it made me feel. Go into my freshman year, I started experiencing with marijuana, and I liked how that made me feel. But I think back a lot to where I'm at today, and I can remember going into my junior year. It would have been July 27th, 2001, is when I really remember like the Lord really touched me. I was at Falls Creek. I gave my life to the Lord. I'd been baptized at a younger age, but that date is the date that stuck with me when I really feel like the Lord and the Holy Spirit came in and touched me. And I remember calling home, telling my mom that I felt like the Lord had called me to just, I didn't know if it was to be a preacher or just live for Him. And I'll remember that. But I'll also remember, I could have the dates a little messed up, but it might have been between my sophomore and junior year. But before my junior and senior year, I had transferred schools, and this is when things really started changing for me. I started putting substances in my body that I shouldn't have. It ended up pretty much taking an athletic career from me, probably a college career, college education, because I just started experiencing with drugs. And it got where I liked that feeling. I liked to get away, and I liked how it made me feel. And from pretty much 18 years old to 32 years old, I was a functional drug addict. It was a monkey on my back that was just so hard to get off, and what was even harder, it was a secret. I kept it from everybody. The people that was closest to me that was in active addiction with me knew about it, but I kept it a secret from pretty much everybody. I still would go into church some, but during this time, I always could feel that nug deep inside of me, what I call the Holy Spirit. You gotta get back right. But I'll keep kind of fast forwarding to 2016. This is where I would say the wheels were going to probably starting to come off. Some red flags were starting to show. I left a company of 10 years that I'd worked my way up from the bottom all the way up to a high position, operations coordinator for a good company, unbelievable company. And it's just, I think back of that during that addiction. If I would have I could have talked to anybody about it. I could have went to the guy that I work beside every day. I could have went to another boss, and I know that they would have got me the help that I needed. But something that I've learned during this over the years is I had something called an ego. And what I've learned about ego, it is edging God out. So I leave that job, start with another company, and as I was saying, the wheels were going to start beginning to fall off. I had started using methamphetamine on a daily basis, and it was literally taking my soul. I remember my dad showed up in 2016, told me, son, Like, I don't know exactly what you got going on, but I'm telling you, I know that I know from the Holy Spirit, from the Lord, that you are on a path that is going to take everything that you love and possibly your life. I laughed it off, back to that ego, and I told him, Dad, I'm fine. I'm just gambling. I don't have a problem. And we left it at that. And I'll fast forward to September 30th of 2018. Well, I'll rewind just a little bit. After my dad told me that, I went hard for till 2018. I had another phone call with my dad in active addiction, and it was a phone call where it could have been "I told you so," but I'm literally have lost everything I loved. The only thing I was hanging on to was a job, and that was just because I needed it to keep feeding my addiction. I was on my way of losing my kids, my ex-wife. I had lost everything and was about to be losing a job. My dad called me. He said, "Son, I love you. I pray for you, but you just can't be part of my life anymore. Like, you're living for the devil, and I know that you are a child of God, but right now you're living for the devil, and I just have to give the Lord to you and let you go to your grave in your active addiction, or the Lord's going to bring you back." But the Lord that I serve has put something on me that I pray that He will bring you back. Little did I know, my dad had been in a lot of prayer for me, and he had just really gave it to the Lord, surrendered it to Him, and the Lord had put on His heart that I'm going to have restoration in your family. Your boys are going to be back better, and I'm going to restore their lives. And my dad hung on to that promise that the Lord gave him in 2018. July, I can't remember the exact dates, but July of 2018, I believe, I'm calling my dad. I'm in a motel room, and I'm literally just busted up. I call him. I tell him, "Dad, I need help," and he comes and gets me, takes me back to his house, loves on me, puts the Lord back in front of me. He's showing it to me. I'm back in my word, and he thinks I'm better, but I still had the monkey on my back that I couldn't get off. I started another job. 2 days into that job, getting arrested and in jail. And I've left some stuff off before that, but I was out on a $25,000 bond that my dad had bonded me out. But little did I know, the Lord was just ahead of it. And that put me in a place called Rob's Ranch in Purcell, Oklahoma. And I went in there, and I literally went in there a busted individual. Nothing. I had nothing but the clothes on my back, and that was it. I had lost everything I loved, but I'd lost everything but my life. And from there, the Lord started restoring my life. And that was December 3rd of 2018. And here it is, July of 2022, and the Lord has just restored my life in ways I can't explain. Have I had failures? Absolutely. I've had some setbacks, but I keep giving it back to the Lord. I keep glorifying Him. He's put me part of two unbelievable companies that I'm a part of, and the more I glorify Him, the more He continues to just help me and get me through things. And it goes back to that prayer that my dad had, that He would restore my life, and He has. I have my daughter back in my life, and he brought me an unbelievable wife, and it's just amazing. And I'm glad I can be on this stage to just tell you what God did for me, and he did give me a restored life, and I'll always be grateful for that. And he's gave me an unbelievable church family, but it just always goes back to brokenness. I was so broken, living for the devil, lost cause in life, but I had some praying parents, a praying sister, just a praying family that believed in the good Lord would answer my prayers. And I know the Lord still has plans for me, and I'm just glad that he came down and answered a prayer and loved me when I couldn't love myself, because that nug that I told you that I could feel inside the end of my addiction, I could just barely feel it. But I always thought in my head, like, Lord, I just looked to him and prayed to him like, there's got to be more to this. And there was, and I've learned so much during it. And I'll always glorify him, and I'll always be grateful for Path to Miracles, Rob's Ranch, that came in and built me back up to the man I am today. My words have meaning, and I could continue telling you the miracles that he's done in my life, but I know he'll continue to do them, and I'm going to continue glorifying him. I'm glad I could share parts of my story. There's a lot that was left out, but pretty much to boil down to it, the Lord got put back in the middle of my life and is over my life, and it got to that because of prayers. I know from prayers of people that love me, and I love my life now. I'm full of the joy from the Lord, and I'll just always glorify him for that, and continue to get on my knees and pray for forgiveness, because I fall short every day of just sin. But I do have a forgiven God, and he did come down the cross for my sins, and I'll always be grateful for that. I hope somebody hears something that they needed to hear. If you got loved ones out there struggling, continue to pray for them. And you just have to surrender them and give them to the Lord and pray that he brings them home, either to heaven or he brings them, to the story that I'm telling right now. I love everybody, and I'm glad I could tell my story.